town streets to the Carroll Creek view. There's something special here, you feel it too. Your host Danny, here to guide the way. She brightens up your day, girls of your day. Good morning Frederick, rise and shine. The city's so lively, gotta make it mine. From downtown streets to the Carroll Creek view. There's something special here, you feel it too. Good morning Frederick, rise and shine. A city so lively, gotta make it mine. From downtown streets to the Carroll Creek view. There's something special here, you feel it too. Your host Danny, here to guide the way with a big smile. She brightens up your day, girls of your day. Good morning Frederick, rise and shine. City's so lively, gotta make it mine. From downtown streets to the Carroll Creek view. There's something special here, you feel it too. Good morning Frederick, rise and shine. A city so lively, gotta make it mine. From downtown streets to the Carroll Creek view. There's something special here, you feel it too. Your host Danny, here to guide the way with a big smile. She brightens up your day, girls of your day. Good morning Frederick, rise and shine. A city so lively.
Hi there, I'm Laurie Owens with Neora, and you're watching Good Morning Frederick.
Oh, good morning, Frederick. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, and I am your host, Danny Gurry. Oh my goodness, what a show yesterday. I honestly am humbled, and I just am so grateful to the people that come out and hang out with me when I do these celebrations. I said yesterday afternoon, I'll celebrate every milestone. First of all, I love having a party. I love doing it for sure. And I am so grateful and appreciative of people who come out to celebrate with me. I'm telling you, I have the best tribe. You guys are so wonderful, and I just can't say enough great things. We had such a fun time. I did not get a chance to talk to hardly anyone, so I apologize if you came in. I know people had to run and get to work and all that great stuff, which I totally appreciate. So yes, thank you so much. Michelle brought me her mom's relish, and I got flowers, and really, it just honestly being there is a gift itself. So yesterday during the little prank, if you didn't tune in, I did a little prank where I was in jail and had to be bailed out, and my bail money was donations to Christmas Cash for Kids. So I didn't even realize we had $30 that came direct from the Give Butter online link, which was awesome. I donated 100% of the proceeds of sales at the shop yesterday from 9 to 11, and everything was 50% off for Good Morning Frederick. That came to $180. And then thanks to Hawkins Landscaping, WLR Automotive Group, and the Great Frederick Fair, there was another $300 donated. So it was over $500, which was our goal, which was phenomenal. And I also have some huge news that I'll be sharing when I bring Bob and Chris on the show during Morning Roundup. So it's stay tuned for that. We're gonna give the grand total and talk about how great it was. So speaking of the show, we do have Morning Roundup with Bob and Chris, and we'll have our announcement then. Then we're going to go over a highlight of some of the events. Then I talk with Karen Justice, one of 3 authors of Widows Among Us. and Guy Fletcher, editor of Frederick Magazine. They are on today. Mother's Rest is our nonprofit for April. So yesterday was a special thing for Christmas Cash for Kids, but the rest of the month we're giving to a Mother's Rest. This is a getaway for caretakers, and it's fabulous. I'm actually going to go see there, and we're going to have this on the show on Friday. So do I have it on Friday? Yes, Friday. We're going to have it on Friday. So you're going to be able to see the Newmarket house. And it's just a great organization. And I think it's the only one of its kind in the United States, which is crazy to me. So please purchase your Good Morning Frederick merch. You can purchase online as well as going to the shop Wednesdays to Sundays, 11 to 4. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to roll along with this Wednesday. Thank you to Rita's Italian Ice and Frozen Custard of Frederick. They're open daily, noon to 9 p.m. Not only do they have Italian ice and frozen custard, but you can also get a hot pretzel or iced coffee. They're always doing something new and fabulous at Rita's. I love it. Right now, they've got the Skittles ice flavor with the freeze-dried Skittles on top. I definitely have to get out there to try that. But if you can't get to Rita's, you can order on Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats as well. There is no reason not to have Rita's. They are at 538 West South Street. All right, let's bring them in. It's time for Morning Roundup. Morning Roundup is sponsored by Auto Trim Design of Mid-Maryland. Window tinting, paint protection film, ceramic coating, vinyl wraps like on the Good Morning Frederick car. Also, customized leather upholstered car seats. They can take care of all your aftermarket enhancements. Auto Trim Design of Mid-Maryland, accessories for any lifestyle. Find them on Urbana Pike or at autotrim-md.com. Well, good morning.
Hey there. Peanut butter
Good morning.
Time. There you go.
I thought you were going to, be a scientist for a while there. I'm not sure.
Speaking of peanut butter there, I rough start to my morning. So I put my peanut butter crackers in my pocket this morning to have a snack, and I forgot they were in there. And look, now they're all broken. That really irks me. Yeah, it really irks me. So now I got to eat it like this, and it gets all over my beard even worse and all over the floor, and I'm stressed already.
First world problems, we call those.
Yeah, right. And I think it looks like I'm leaning here a little bit to the side. Was there an earthquake in here? This camera here?
Yeah, you're a little askew.
Yeah, I'm always askew. Let me fix that here. Bob, go ahead. Entertain the people while I work on this.
Well, there you go. I know Danny has mentioned that she's going to have a big announcement. So I'm excited about that. I'm glad you got out of jail. I'm glad you're not, orange is the new black, right?
Yes, it was. Orange was the new black yesterday. So, as I said in the open, yesterday's show was dedicated to Christmas Cash for Kids, to bail out. We had so many people come into the shop and purchase merch, which was great. $180 will be donated directly from those sales. We had the Great Frederick Fair, Hawkins Landscaping, and WLR Automotive Group come in and each donated $100. And then there were $30 that were donated online. Thanks so much to Cindy and Daphne from WFRE and WFMD. And I think it was my friend Pam who also donated $10 there. So that was a $30 I didn't even know existed. Then, actually, I was not on my phone at all yesterday for the 2 hours we were streaming. There was no time. I looked at my phone once we finished the stream. I might cry. I will. Whew. Our friends at Ken's Automotive and Transmissions is donating $1,000.
Whoa!
They're donating $1,000 to Christmas Cash for Kids.
Wow. That's amazing. That's
so
amazing. Thank you.
$1,500 we raised yesterday for the 50th annual event, which doesn't even start until December, but we're starting early, making sure this is the best year yet. I really do think we'll get to 125,000, Chris.
That's amazing. And I think I'm going to personally stop and thank them over at Ken's because I've taken my car there before. I truly love them over there. They're amazing people. And Bob, I mean, how amazing is that?
That is amazing. That's really amazing. So thank you so much.
If I can't even count how many children that they're going to be helping for Christmas. I mean, just great job, Danny. And great job.
Well, amazing family-owned business since 1968. The small businesses in this area, I'm telling you, really in supporting these organizations and just giving back. Times are tough. And when you have a business that's going to step up, like Ken's Automotive, the Mead family, and just be so gracious and wonderful. I mean, I just can't even, it just really floored me. And, I'm just so lucky to be able to do this, to be the conduit between these things. But it 100% goes to them for stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to help the kids of Frederick County this year. So
and doing something, and that was always been kind of the struggle that we've had with Christmas Cash for Kids, is trying to maybe do something throughout the year, and little events. But it's, it was at one point in time, we just didn't have the manpower. We didn't have people who were like you, who are able to do and have a platform like you do to help us out. I mean, I'd love to be able to do more events, more items, and try to do more stuff throughout the year to make it a little bit easier, and then, make people more aware of Christmas Cash for Kids throughout the whole year instead of just the week of Christmas Cash for Kids. So we know it can be done. I just saw an article in the paper about the Unity of Frederick. I think they raised over $618,000 for nonprofits in the county. So
Unity campaign is amazing. It's 10 days, and they did an amazing job. 37 nonprofits benefit from that week's of fundraising. It's definitely possible. And look, we've got 3 events coming up this year to watch movies with Chris. The first one is May 14th. We're going to watch Never-Ending Story at Warehouse Cinemas. Your tickets, I'll have the ticket link. I think we're going to get that up in the next day or so, and we'll share that out. Good Morning Frederick is proud to sponsor this event. And $20 ticket. All of that goes to Christmas Cash for Kids. And you get popcorn and soda. Popcorn and soda with free refills. And you get to watch a movie with Chris and get his immediate response right after. So that should be a lot of fun as well. May 14th is a Wednesday. We'll have vendors at Warehouse from 5 to 7, and then we'll watch the movie at 7 p.m. So you'll be back for that, Bob. You'll be able to come.
But we will still want you to come out, even though Chris will be there.
Yes.
I mean, we still want you to be part of it.
Bob, listen, if you're going to sit next to me while we watch the movie, please keep your hands on my popcorn.
I'm not going to.
What do you mean you're not? Why would you sit next to me?
Because you're going to be like in Jets jammies or something.
I'm not going to wear jammies. And first of all, let's get one thing. Whoa, hold on. Let's get one thing straight. It's not Jets jammies. It's baseball season. It'll be my Mets jammies. Okay.
All right.
So if we're gonna tell people, let's give them the truth and no fake news, please. I just want to say this, Bob. You mentioned something. You're right about not having the manpower. We got something even more now with Danny. We got woman power.
We got our own Wonder Woman.
Yes, thank you, Danny. I mean, look, and I say what's on my mind, and I say the truth. And having Danny a part of our team, and I said this from the start, when we found out she was going to be with us is huge because her mind's always going, always thinking, how can we better the community? And we appreciate, Danny, what you're doing to help us with Christmas Cash for Kids and Ken's. We can't thank you enough. This truly means a lot to us here at WFMD. It's not just something we say on air. Everything we say on air, we really, truly mean, and it does get emotional. The tears are real when we think about how many kids we're helping. So thank you so much, Ken.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, we have the greatest job in the world where we're able to, again, be the conduits between the community and these kids and working with the Salvation Army. And just, I think we are impacting the families right here, our neighbors. And, it is emotional. And, I'm just so grateful to be able to do it. So that is exciting. We had a really great day yesterday. And we're ramping up for May 14th. It's going to be another good one. So we're gonna keep rolling along because we have more dates in August and November for movie watching with Chris. And I'm sure I'm going to come up with something else before then too to help raise money. So
awesome. Hey, real quick before get into from the good to the bad, the ugly. And that is the fact you were talking about Rita's and having it delivered. Well, if Maryland gets their way, it'll cost you an extra 75 cents because they want to put 75-cent tax on all deliveries.
I mean, they just keep skipping from one thing to another to tax. Literally, if you sneeze anymore, you're going to have to watch your back because they're looking to try to raise money from every single thing we do. And it's so disgusting. I mean, it is. And, I was reading about the mayor's budget, and I have to give it up for Councilwoman Katie Nash, who said, hey, we ought to be careful about what we're doing because of what is happening in the state. Our constituents are going to be taxed to kingdom come. And so it literally it's a whirlwind right now, and you're trying to keep up with it all.
Yeah, it really is.
Bob and I were talking about, the big thing was the business tax. They were going to do a 2% tax. And of course, that didn't go through. But Bob and I were saying, well, you know what? That's great that's not going to go through, but they're going to find another way to tax. And now also I read they're working on the mattress tax, which is a recycling fee tax for mattresses. My only hope with that is I hope they don't tax you if you snore louder, because I'd be in big trouble then. But it's sad how they can just all of a sudden always come up with these taxes, and it's killing us, man. It really, really is. And Bob had mentioned it earlier on the show, and he's 100% right. They forget that, you just said the delivery folks out there, the Uber Eats, and all those different people who deliver. Uber doesn't pay for their tires. Who pays for the tires? The drivers do. So it really hurts them.
Yeah, they want to put a $5 tax on every tire next year. That's that's just a tax. That's not all the other stuff.
Yeah, somebody just told me they just registered the car or whatever, the annual, and it's doubled. And, and what happened, and this is what I'd love to know. Where's all the money from the legalized gambling that is now in this state? Where's all that gone? That was supposed to go to education and help offset some of our taxes. The cannabis revenue, where's all that going? I mean, I think a lot of people, allowed that to come through because you'd think that it's going to be a revenue source that helps offset the rising costs. But, I did see former Governor Hogan's post, he left the budget in a good state. The fact that we have blown through a surplus and we're now so far in debt in this state, and we're already overtaxed. We work in Maryland from January 1, I believe, until mid-May to pay the taxes that were charged in the state. It's just terrible. It really is. And it really makes me want to leave Maryland. I mean, I think about sometimes, oh my gosh, why did we settle back here when we came back from Australia? I was not paying attention close enough at the time. So.
Well, somebody else said that to me, and obviously I've moved out and coming back, and people, the number one thing people have said to my wife and us when we talk about that is like, why? Why are you being so stupid to come back to the state of Maryland? And I think, at some point in time, Marylanders have to stand up and take our state back from the
true.
people who are not doing a justice to our state. I mean, I was telling Chris
That's a good
earlier,
point. Yeah.
is that we have everything. We have history, we have the mountains, we have the ocean, we have DC. I mean, there's so many things that Maryland is right there, and it's so wonderful. The only problem is 55 miles down the road in Annapolis. That's where the problem is. That's where our problem is.
And
Bob, unfortunately, kind of like the country, I wish we kind of had an electoral college in the state like we do in the federally, because we have 2 counties in this state that rule everything and have a huge pull. And I think that obviously has a pretty big impact on what's happening in Annapolis. So,
and there's been protests, a lot of protests going on in Frederick about the current administration. Bob, Danny, maybe it's time, and just going off what Bob said, take it back state. Maybe it's time we protest about all these taxes. And I'm all for protesting. I'm all for those who are even protesting this current administration, because they have the right to protest as long as they do it, without harming anybody. Let's protest. That's what makes this country great. Protest and tell them, hey, in Annapolis, we're tired of our hard-earned dollars being taken all the time, and that's what we should start doing.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I concur.
I know that there's more news, but I really wanted to. I saw in the paper, and I wanted to get your guys' feedback on this, because I'm torn. I'm torn on this one. But the lady that is, I would say lovingly, but it's not lovingly, referred to as the Dragon Lady, I noticed that there was the city is trying to put the properties she owns into receivership. And I'm torn on this. I believe that, and I see the side that she owns properties right down on Market Street that are been shuttered for 30 years. And it doesn't look great. But she literally is following the law. She fixes just enough to fix. So, they find her, they've done all those things. I don't like the government being able to come in and take a private person's property. I don't think that that's right. But again, I do see, I have, I work out of the shop in downtown, 4th and Market. No one comes north of 2nd Street because of that huge eyesore. And was wondering what you guys thought about that.
Are you talking about Asiana?
Yes.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, and that's a topic that me and Bob discussed a lot. We've spoken to the mayor about it plenty of times. Look, and this is where I get called wishy-washy a lot of times, being down the middle. I agree. I'm not for government taking over a private business. However, with that being said, you have to look at, and Bob and I talked about it, the issue with if it becomes an inconvenience for other businesses around, or residents, if they live around there. You've got issues with rats, roaches. Rats could chew wires, cause fires. So at some point, you have to think, well, maybe the government should step in if it becomes a hazard, and kind of look into selling it for them. So although I'm not for government stepping in, at certain points it becomes dangerous to the area.
Well, I think that the government, in certain areas should make sure, and obviously you can't do this, retroactively, but when someone maybe purchases a building within downtown, maybe there is a clause that says clearly, if the building goes into disrepair and blah, 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 that we have the right. But I don't know. I do, if there were structural issues, if there were that, but I don't know how I feel about that. I'm a little bit more libertarian in that leaning than anything else. I'd have to, because what I know about government is you give them an inch and a mile will be taken before you know it. And the slippery slope they talk about, we've seen it happen time and time. You think, oh yes, we need the Patriot Act because we're going to do this, and now look at where we are. Where it just keeps getting, the envelope keeps getting pushed. So yeah, I'm not really sure one way or another where I stand.
You mean like the data centers with eminent domain? That's what you mean when you give them a little bit, they take a lot. And I agree with you. Again, I agree with you. But again, looking at structural integrity and dangers, I think there's a point where, unfortunately, they're going to have to do what they have to do, see fit to make sure they keep their job is to keep other businesses and residents safe. And if it's an unsafe area, then they do need to step in my opinion. Bob, what say you, my friend?
Well, I mean, you guys have made some great points, and the biggest question I would love to be able to ask Ducky Rowe is, why in the heck are you doing this?
Yeah,
you have a piece of property that is an amazing piece of property downtown, and you just let it sit blighted and unfilled. And as Chris said, we talked about it the other day. I mean, there's a rat problem in downtown, and the stores that are beside it are having these issues of trying to take care of the problems from Asiana. And she has, and you said it, Danny, earlier, she has done just enough, but they have to take her to court over and over and over and over again to get her to do something. And I know that this isn't true, and it's just my opinion. It is not the entity of Good Morning Frederick where are the Berries bodied in there? That's my question. Is that why she's not doing anything? Because if they start to work on it, they'd be like, oh, whoa, unsolved mysteries here.
Yeah, I would definitely love to understand the thought process, because don't you think, and I used to think, oh, it must just be the tax write-off, right?
No.
They have so much property, and I know these were all her husband's properties, I believe. He had the real estate business, and I think he passed away. And I actually talked to somebody recently who used to work for her, said she was not a very nice lady, but hence the Dragon Lady, I think, moniker. But I would think you would make so much more money generating rental revenue off of all these properties than letting them sit there. I don't get it either.
I don't either.
So with the missing body thing that might be in there, Bob, are you insinuating that they might have found Jimmy Hoffa? Maybe is he buried over in Asiana?
You never know, or maybe the Black Book is buried in there somewhere.
Mysteries. There you go. See, we really have something for you to talk about. There you go.
There you go. All right, we'll go ahead and get to any other news that is happening.
So we'll make it quick because this was a really good discussion. I'm really glad we had it. Good job, Danny, bringing that up. There's another candidate running for Frederick County Sheriff in 2026, Gary Morton. I believe you actually spoke with him, right, Danny, on your show?
I did back in July, actually, and I just reposted that video where he hinted he was going to run. And so I have reached out to him to see if I can get him back on the show. But yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, Gary Morton is officially filed to run next year. He'll be campaigning also as a Republican. So far, and incumbent Sheriff Chuck Jenkins have announced they're running for office. Jenkins has not formally filed his candidacy with the Maryland State Board of Elections as of yet. And the Fletcher County Division of Public Works Traffic and Permit Section announced today that changes to traffic control at the east intersection of Corporate Drive, Bentley Way, and Branford Lane are planned for April 15th, 2025. Currently, Bentley Way and Branford Lane are required to stop, and Corporate Drive is not. Beginning April 15th, new stop signs will go into effect, and all four legs of the intersection will be required to stop. Folks, do you remember the rules of a four-way stop? I know many people out there who don't, and people get confused, and it drives me nuts. If you don't know, just Google it. It's not really that hard.
Well, especially when it's two lanes a lot of the ways. That really... So it won't be long before they either put in a circle or have to pay for traffic lights there for sure.
Not a circle. Not a
Yeah,
circle.
right. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, and then it annoys me over it. And you know this area well, Danny. Over at Yellow Springs, in that area, they put like 3 new traffic circles. And then for whatever reason, people think they're supposed to stop in the freaking circle halfway around the circle and let people
the
go.
roundabout. I know. They don't know
Stop
about
it. Stop it. Google it. Learn the rules. If not, we're going to take your driver's license away. All right. I'm sorry. Here I go. Uh-oh. Oh, my camera just fell.
Well, that's good. I could just do sports then while you're fixing that. He was going around the traffic circle. I think that's another thing we can make Chris do for when they put in a new traffic circle. For every loop that he makes in the traffic circle, we'll give him 50 cents to Christmas Cash for Kids. And
Hey, do I have a vote in any of this? And I think Emma's computer just messed up here. It's like radio.
right.
All you do is hear my voice.
2 days after being dumped by Kevin Willard for Villanova, Maryland got themselves a new basketball coach. He came from Texas A&M. Buzz Williams is his name. Next coach, he's got a 621 winning percentage. He's 373 and 228 over his 18 years as coach. He's excited about that. Alex Ovechkin lit the lamp again for his 891st career goal, moving him just 4 away from Wayne Gretzky's NHL goal. The Capitals also won yesterday by a score of 4-3. Nationals got hammered by the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday, who won their 3rd straight. They beat the Nats 5-3 on Tuesday night, and same 2 teams again this afternoon. In Toronto, Orioles had the day off yesterday. Red Sox came into town to take on the Birds. 6:35 is the first pitch.
All right. And what about weather quickly, Chris?
All right, hold on. I got to pull it up here. I didn't know. Good weather. Here we go. Got it. Camera's back up. Today, looking at a high of 59 and mix of clouds and sun during the morning. Tonight, low 51, cloudy, slight chance of rain. And tomorrow, beautiful day, 79, cloudy skies. Tomorrow night, low of 59, scattered thunderstorms during the evening. Got my camera back up here. And why does this stuff always happen to me?
Well, I gotta say, Bob, your friend Pete said my wife is from New Jersey. Her rules are if you're slow, it's her turn in roundabouts. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, there you go. And I always say to my kids when we were teaching them, when in doubt, wait it out. Let them go.
Hey, Pete. Pete, as a guy from New York, can I ask you a question? Why on God's green earth can't you make a freaking left turn in Jersey? Why? I hate driving in Jersey. You can't make a left turn in Jersey. I don't get it.
Into all the things wrong with Jersey. We got enough wrong here in Maryland, so we'll keep us busy.
I love Jersey, Pete. I'm just kidding. I love Jersey. All right. We'll see you.
Well, thank you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow.
All right. I think I'll take my wife out to breakfast.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, I'll make her pay, but
that's nice too. All right. We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Bye. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. I know I got a lot. We got Mama Cone watching this morning. She was helping in the shop yesterday. Of course, Tara and Shannon were in the shop yesterday. Yes, it is fantastic. $1,000 from Ken's Automotive and Transmissions. I think I'll be getting that tomorrow, which is great because I'll be filming there under the hood. Good morning to Christy Wood and Chrissy Miller. Good morning to you as well. Of course, Pete is with me. It drives you crazy. Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of things we do drives our husbands crazy for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to be back. We're going to go over what's happening in Frederick. I'm going to highlight probably just this weekend because I got 2 great interviews, one with Karen Justice and the other with Guy Fletcher. All of that is coming up just after this.
Travel better with Antietam World Travel Service, your gateway to worry-free journeys. With their extensive network, unmatched experience, and personalized services, you can explore the world with confidence and ease. When you work with Antietam World Travel Service, you get convenience, experience, and connections. Go to AntietamTravel.com now and get started on your dream vacation.
Cosmec Healing handcrafted small batch tinctures and transdermal salves, double third-party tested for quality you can trust. If you've got pain, headaches, or anxiety, our products are here to help you find relief. Patient over profits mindset. 'Cause we're patients too. CosmecHealing.com.
Real estate goddess, yeah. She's the one to get you there. Homes and dreams are perfect, yeah. Shannon Flannery beyond compare.
How often do you lose your mouse on your computer screen? I mean, for me, it happens seriously so many times, especially with multiple screens, but even with one sometimes. All right, let's go over what's happening in Frederick. Happening in Frederick is sponsored by Intense Barbecue, family-owned barbecue, food truck, and catering company. They cook in small batches to make sure the food is as fresh as it can be. You can find them at intensebarbecue.com. All right, we're going to quickly go over, because I got these two great interviews coming up. This evening, we've got Cocktails and Conversations, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Home of Everything, Frederick. Starting in May, we're moving to the second Wednesday of the month. We got so much happens the first week of the month. So yeah, but tonight, 5 to 7 p.m. Stop by if you can. It's going to be great. On the 4th, Flying Cows are home at Woodsboro Bank Arena. If you want tickets, just text COWS to 888-465-2944. Remember, you can always scroll back, screenshot, or whatever if you want to enter. You can enter. Once you text COWS, I will keep you in our system so that you can win throughout the season as well. But if you want to go, text COWS. All right, first Saturday is this weekend. We are kicking off a lot at the Home of Everything, Frederick, 401 North Market Street, 11 to 1. It's Sip, Sample, and Shop with Laurie from Neora. Then we've got our pop-up vendors, Toa Waters. Zoom and Groomin's going to be doing $15 nail trims on the spot. Fortress Foundations, Helping Hands and Caring Hearts are going to be set up as well. We're going to have a ton of fun. And there's going to be adult beverages if you'd like. So come on, stop by the Home of Everything, Frederick. If the weather's bad, we're going to be crammed inside. If it's nice, we'll be set up outside. We'd love to see you there. It's going to be really, really fun. On the 6th that's Sunday. Focus is Cash Bingo at the Elks. On the 10th, it is Take Back the Night at Hood College at 6:30, and that is supporting those survivors of power-based violence. On April 12th, it is a disc golf tournament to benefit the Seton Center. That sounds like so much fun. And on the 14th, it is the Good Morning Frederick countywide adult egg hunt. And you have to watch Good Morning Frederick's Facebook page at 9 a.m. We're going to release all the photos of where the eggs are hidden. Every egg has a prize. Yesterday on the show, we talked to a lot of our people who have donated prizes, including WLR has auto spa, car washes. We've got the Great Frederick Fair doing some jack passes and admission passes for the fair. Obviously, we've got all these listed here. Red Horse, Tree Trekkers, Sandbox Brew House, 7th Street Cafe, 10th Ward, Intense Barbecue, Terrapin Travel, McClintock. Tons of 300 prizes because every egg has a prize. Plus, of course, sponsored by the Maryland Lottery. Couldn't do it without them. Somebody's going to win 100 Maryland Lottery scratch-offs. And, of course, we have $500 cash as a prize as well. All right? So you got to join the Good Morning Frederick Facebook page. All right, I got to wind down. Tree Trekkers has Teacher Appreciation Day on April 16th. The 19th kicks off Restaurant Week in Thurmont. The 24th is SHIP's annual lip sync battle. Get your tickets now. I'm emceeing that event. It's going to be so much fun. The 26th, TJ High School's having a yard sale to benefit Safe and Sane. It's also Fiber Fest at the Frederick Fairgrounds. Andrea's House is having their Rise and Renew Gala. All of that is on the 26th. Then on the 27th, it's the Stomp Out Heroin 5K. That benefits Phoenix Recovery High School. Pulling for Veterans is also having their flea market. That's the first of 3. May 2nd is the immersive pop-up at Give Rise Studios. We're going to talk a lot more about it. I think I need to get Chrissy Miller on the show. Last year looked awesome. Everything was it was spring blossom themed. So spring bloom is the theme. So flowers and plants and very cool stuff, from the cupcakes that they had to the photos to the paintings. Very, very cool. Give Rise is a really cute studio on South Carroll Street. Then May 6th, it's the Career Fair and Training Open House at the Monroe Center, part of FCC, but over by the fairgrounds. All right, if you have an event you want included on the calendar, and I'd love to talk about it, all you have to do is email me, everythingfredericklive@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me directly. Oh, Chrissy says, nature, inspired art, and food. And yes, I will make sure you get on the show before May to talk about it. I know it's going to be very cool. All right, we're going to take one more quick break. Then we're going to be back with Karen Justice and Guy Fletcher, and that comes up right after this.
This portion of Good Morning Frederick is powered by Ken's Automotive and Transmissions, Total Car Care. Need an oil change or brakes? Ken's Automotive and Transmissions can take care of that. How about exhaust or engine work? Ken's Automotive and Transmissions can do that too. No matter what you need for your car, Ken's Automotive and Transmissions is Total Car Care. Go to kenstrans.com to schedule an appointment today.
When you book your tickets to Tree Trekkers, don't forget to use that code GMF to save. All right, A&S Construction is a local and award-winning woman and minority-owned business located right here in Frederick. And you know, when I talk about being grateful for the support and so appreciative, I'm also appreciative of the small businesses that choose to support me by advertising on this show. Sandra has supported me since day one, like many of these other sponsors and advertisers. I cannot thank her enough. If you need help with your roofing or siding, maybe you need windows or gutters or a patio or deck, please contact Sandra at A&S Construction. Not only is she a good friend, they do amazing work. They just built a deck for a friend of mine, and it is gorgeous. And I mean, it's amazing. So call 301-703-2157 or email info@ansconstruction.net. As a Good Morning Frederick viewer, you get $750 off any roof or siding replacement or $50 off any roof repairs. Just let Sandra know you saw her on Good Morning Frederick. Okay, let's see who is making our market great. Market Makers is sponsored by the Maryland Lottery with tons of ways to win. Hot scratch-offs like big money where a $5 ticket could net you $50,000. Go to mdlottery.com for all the details. You must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. All right, here's Karen, co-author of Widows Among Us.
I am with Karen Justice, a co-author of Widows Among Us. You may remember we talked with Karen back in the summer, I think it was. You were raising money for Water for Kenya, and she is back. You guys had been working on the book for a long time, and I believe you have a couple, two other co-authors. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Awesome.
Rebecca and another Karen. So she's 6'1", I'm 5 foot barely. So Rebecca and the two Karens, tall Karen and short Karen.
I love it. I love it. Well, welcome to Good Morning Frederick again. And I'm
Thank you.
excited to talk with you about this book that I know you've worked very hard on. Widows Among Us is now available for sale. Tell me your journey in coming together to write this book and kind of where it started.
Well, Karen and I met each other through the Women's Business Network. And Rebecca LaChance was a friend of a friend and a former customer of my sister, and somebody I always wanted to meet. I decided to return to Morocco, and I put something on Facebook about I'm here, I'm looking at some things for the next trip. If you're interested in going, please go. Please let me know. Karen and her husband joined me, and Rebecca joined me without her husband. He doesn't like to he didn't like to travel, and so we had an exciting experience in a Moroccan hammam. You have to read the book; it's too long a story. And then Rebecca was widowed. That was in April of 2019. COVID hit. Rebecca's husband was having health problems, refused to go to the hospital because of COVID. He passed away in March of 2020. And we tried to support her in the midst of COVID. Then, as we could, all of us love traveling. So we escaped. We took several trips and commiserated on the kinds of things we were dealing with as widows. And in Sedona, Arizona, in February of 2023, we said, we ought to write a book. And the next day we were at Staples getting pens and paper. And 23 months later, our book was published.
That is pretty incredible, though, that you guys realized how many experiences could help others that you three shared. And that's wonderful.
We talk about the fact that we're pulling back a curtain on something that is just living in the shadows. Nobody talks about it. And there is a young woman in her 30s we heard about, we do not know personally, who was widowed at 30 with 3 children. They did not own their house, they had no insurance policy, they had very little in the bank, and there she was. Her mother had been widowed, never really talked about her challenges, and so this young woman was totally unprepared. People need to know, and it's widowers encounter some of the same things, but not to the same extent as widows. And we just want people to understand it's not a fun subject to talk about, but it's critical. And
Sure.
yeah, so we still have some funny stories and some sad stories and some, stories of anger and stories of angst and lots of advice.
Well, that's life, right? Of course. It
Yeah.
kind of mix it all in. So is this kind of a how to plan for the unexpected? Is it more kind of stories and sharing of each person's experience? How does the book laid out?
I had to laugh as you started that because at one time part of our subtitle was how to prepare, be, and help a widow. And we when you parse it out, it's like how to be a widow. We didn't want that. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, we don't want to plan for that.
like I said, there's humor in our stories as well. But the book is compiled in such a way that we tell our 3 stories to begin with. Who we were before we were widowed, because that's strong influence on how you recover and when, and what we went through and how we recovered and how we've rebuilt our new futures. And then we have a short little section on the key takeaways, lessons learned. The next section is talking about, Rebecca fondly named it Mamas Teach Your Daughters to Be Widows. And it's the how-tos, the ways in which you need to be prepared. And another section we apply to you, the widow among us. We know from experience and from talking to other widows, because we surveyed a lot of widows in writing this book, that women are not going to be ready to read this book when they're new widows. This is not a book you buy for a new widow. This is a book you buy for a married woman who needs to know all these things before the horrible experience arrives on her doorstep.
Right.
So, but that's why we want to have that section and explain the challenges, from brain fog to guilt to confusion to frustration to anger, all the challenges, 400 to 500 hours worth of paperwork after your spouse dies. And then the last section is help for everybody else who knows a widow, because people, unfortunately, oftentimes they say, please call me if you need me. I am here for you. There is no widow that I know or that we've talked to who has the energy to determine what it is she needs or to pick up the phone and call someone. So arrive on the doorstep with stuff.
Someone once told me that actually, even when somebody's ill, when something happens, that you just show up and do it. You force yourself on people. And I have to say, even personally, obviously, I didn't have a tragedy like a spouse passing away, but even being ill, and a lot of people said those words, and I knew in their hearts they were being genuine and supportive. And I was, of course, I said, oh, I'm good and I'm okay. But the ones that just showed up, or just sent something, or did that, it took that decision off of me, and it was beautiful. And most people just dropped and went. They didn't even want to see, which was great, because I wasn't like in the capacity to have visitors or any of that. But I do 100% now know that if anyone else is in that way, I will 100% just do.
Yeah, and honestly, you're so right in applying it more generally, because that last chapter applies to someone who's having surgery, someone who's had surgery, someone who's, a child is ill, or there's anything that is a traumatic experience in the household. You're so right in your comments about the fact that this applies to anyone has some sort of traumatic event in the household, whether it be surgery, surprise surgery like you had. You couldn't even prepare with food in the freezer, but it's any sort of event that takes somebody's attention away and adds stress to their life. Just bringing things, as you said, is such a asset. And
It's a
honestly,
true gift. It really is a true gift, because
really
I
is.
don't want to say no, thank you, but it's sometimes easier to say no, I'm okay, than to try to coordinate when and what and all the what would you like? Like, it just takes all of that away. So 100%, I will be doing that from this point forward for anyone. So you guys, I know, have been around speaking at a couple groups. Is that correct?
Yes, we're always available to speak, because again, we feel like we're on a mission, that this is information people really need.
Yeah.
Yes, it's nice to sell books. We've got money invested in it, but basically it's a mission to help people avoid some of the things that we went through. So we've spoken to Rotary groups, we've spoken to Wish. We're doing another presentation with Wish in a couple weeks. And we've spoken at elder care centers. We have something scheduled at Homewood later in the year. So there's just any opportunity we have.
Yeah. Now, did you guys self-publish your book, or how can people get a copy?
You can get a copy. Right now, Curious Iguana has a couple copies here in town. Shop locally.
Nice.
They put a couple books on the shelf, so please go buy them so that they will.
Yes, and support local
Yes,
writer,
exactly.
local business. Love it.
But they're also on a line through Barnes and Noble and through Amazon.
Okay, excellent.
And
What is
you can just go to our website and buy it through our website. We offer some gift packaging if you would like to send it to somebody. So you can do that through our website.
Okay, well, I will make sure we'll put that on screen for everybody. No problem at all.
Thank you.
What is your one hope to get out of somebody getting your book and reading it?
Well, it's beyond a hope. It's two stories that we heard before the book was released from some of our early readers. One woman whose husband was tragically killed when she was 20 is now in her 50s. And she said that reading our book helped her relieve her of the guilt she'd been carrying for 30 years because she moved on. That's heavy. Another woman whose husband was terminally ill was a friend of one of my co-authors, and she read the book because Rebecca asked, and she didn't really want to, but her comment was that reading our book enabled her to understand that she was going to be able to get through this, that she had the strength, she now had the knowledge of what to be prepared for. And she thinks that everyone who's facing a known loss of a spouse should be prepared by reading our book. So
Yeah.
those are the two things, two of the things we would love to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, you can go get your book now. Definitely don't wait until the tragedy happens. So be prepared now. 3widows.com is the website. You can order online. Of course, you can go snag those copies at Curious Iguana in downtown Frederick. Karen, we appreciate all you're doing to heal people after the fact and help people prepare before the fact. Preparation is everything, and knowing kind of what to expect sometimes, even in the worst scenarios, can help as well. We appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you very much, Danny. Appreciate the opportunity to share this with other people.
Yes. Stuff you don't want to think about, but you should know what to do when it happens, for sure. All right. We are going to get to our next market maker. I know. We're running behind. It's all good. It's my show. We can do whatever we want, right? Love it. Market Makers is sponsored by the Healing Storm Holistic Wellness. The Healing Storm focuses on alternative holistic healing methods to relieve your stress and pain, like massage therapy, Reiki, lymphatic massage. And Shannon and her team are amazing. We really appreciate them. I go every month, and sometimes I want to go twice a month. Check out thehealingstorm.com for more details and to schedule your appointment today. All right, Guy Fletcher has been our editor for Frederick Magazine for quite some time. And I talked to him a little bit about what it's like to put together Frederick's monthly magazine, Frederick Magazine.
The home of everything, Frederick, 401 North Market Street. I'm with Guy Fletcher, the editor of Frederick Magazine, which is another home of everything, Frederick, really?
Yes, I like to think so.
I think so too. When was that magazine established?
We are actually celebrating our 40th anniversary.
No way.
Birthday this year. Yeah, we were founded in 1985.
That's when I graduated high school, getting ready to have my 40th.
People my age think it feels like yesterday.
It does feel like yesterday.
But it was actually, 40 years ago.
Wow.
We have changed greatly over the years. We started as a very small digest-sized magazine called Diversions. A couple years later, we changed the name formally to Frederick Magazine. And then a lot of more changes since then. I've been with the magazine about 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you fall into the role at Diversion Publications?
I was between jobs and they were looking for an editor.
Okay.
I just came out of a career. I was a newspaper reporter.
All right.
And then I was working in public relations for a large corporate communications outfit for a Fortune 500 company.
All right.
So I was working, and I was just recently took a buyout, and I was home, working, doing whatever, being Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
And they reached out to me and said they needed an editor. So, and who knew? At the time, I thought, well, I'll do this for a few years. And then I was never an editor before. I never worked in magazines. So a lot of it was sort of learning on the job, and here I am 17 years later.
Wow,
Who knew?
That's amazing. Are you from Frederick County?
I'm originally from Baltimore.
Okay.
And my wife and I both grew up in Anne Arundel County. We came here because our jobs took us here right out of college.
Oh.
I was working in Hagerstown. She was working in Gaithersburg, and we just picked a point that was right in the middle, and we knew nothing about Frederick. We moved here in 1990.
Okay.
So I've lived here for 35 years, so I'm almost local.
Yeah. Oh, you're definitely local. You are definitely a local fixture. Frederick Magazine comes out every month.
12 times a year.
12 times
I wish
a year.
I could take a month off, but I can't.
Wish you, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
I wish it were 11 times. No, it's great.
Yeah,
I love doing it.
You also do the Best of Frederick Awards each year.
Yes, that is our readers poll.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have no input into that.
Yeah.
Because if I did, who knows what the poll would look like. No, that's a result of a readers poll that we actually conduct over a 2-month period every fall.
Wow.
online readers poll. They log in, go to our website, www.frederickmagazine.com. They vote there, and we just print the results in February every year.
Yeah.
It's our most popular issue, but it's again, it's something I wish I did have some influence, but people come to me all the time and say, "Hey, can you make me this?" I said, "I really can't do that." So,
we need a
good luck when you're voting.
Best podcast.
We do have a best podcast. Yes, we do have a podcast. We've changed the categories a lot because every year I get suggestions from the community about, hey, how come we don't have this or we have that so what we try to do is we try to maybe add 4 or 5 and take away 4 or 5 because we'll see some categories that sort of lose their steam that people just they don't have that interest in anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll take those away and we'll add some. We try to keep it around 100 or 10, 120 categories.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to have to do a bigger push next year.
You can, absolutely.
Start
September. Voting will start around September 15th. We always start the voting right around in the street.
Okay, excellent. Well, I have to remember that for sure. I actually have been in your magazine. I was one of the people of Frederick. I think that was 2008, 9 maybe?
Yeah, you've been in the magazine a few times.
Well, and I used to write for the magazine.
And we had your, when you did the morning show on the radio, we had that.
Oh, that's right, I was in there.
We've had your travel photos in there.
Yes, that's right.
You've been a regular, you've made several appearances in
I might
the
need my own little byline.
we could actually put together a whole magazine of Danny appearances, over the years.
Nobody wants that but my mom. My mom will be the only one that wants that. What is, in 40 years, how do you keep things fresh and new and different? You obviously cover a lot of things about the history of Frederick, businesses and all of that, and some things drivable distance from Frederick.
Sure.
How do you come up with stuff every month?
It is a challenge at times because there are some great things in Frederick. People come to us all the time and they'll say, hey, you should really do a story about this. And we'll say, well, we just did that story 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even people in my office will say this, say, hey, I just saw blah, blah, blah. And we'll say, yeah, we did a story about him last year.
Yeah.
The cool thing, though, is things are changing all the time.
Yeah.
There's always new restaurants, new businesses. There's, obviously the demographics of the county have changed dramatically in just the 35 years I've been here.
Yeah.
The population has changed. When I moved here in 1990, all the people who were here before me said, well, Frederick County can't possibly grow anymore.
Right.
We are at the peak, we were busting at the seams. We're not going to be able to make it. Look now, we probably doubled in size since then. So fortunately, from a magazine perspective, it's actually kind of easy to keep it fresh because so many things change all the time.
Well, and that's like for me doing this show every day, right? And people are like, are you ever going to run out of content? I said, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people doing great things all the time. It changes all the time. And you can kind of take a similar thing but take a different perspective. So there's kind of some ways to rework content you may have done in the past.
And also I have so many great writers and contributors who work for me, and they're always calling me up and email and say, hey, we should do a story about this. And very often that's where I get most of my, a lot of my story ideas come from the people who contribute to the magazine.
Yeah.
They'll say, hey, or they'll be working on one story and say, hey, while I was interviewing this guy today, he told me about something else.
Right.
I'm like, great, that'll go in the next issue, or the issue down the road. Because we are a monthly, to do a monthly magazine, we are kind of working on 4 or 5 issues at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
To stay out in front of it, we have to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the nature of the business.
Of course.
People always say it's a monthly magazine, and I always say, yeah, but it's like several monthlies in 1 month. So, right now, we're finishing up what is the next, the April issue. That'll finish next week. Send that to the printer, but we're also working very hard on the May issue.
Of course.
And June, and July is going to be our 40th anniversary issue. So we got some things we're working on for that.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah, so we're excited about that as well.
So you guys, people can purchase the magazine at local
Stores.
outlets.
Best way to get it, though, is to go on our website, subscribe.
Yeah.
It comes to your house. It's half the price of the newsstand price.
Yeah.
And you get if you live in Frederick County, it'll usually arrive around the 1st of the month.
Oh, yeah.
So I always tell
Getting
people,
it fresh off the press.
I always tell people, just, people calling all the time, or they want to buy one, and I said, don't get one, just get 12. Get online, it'll come, have it mailed to your house. It's much easier that way.
Yeah. If there was one thing you'd want people to know about Frederick Magazine, because there are other magazines here in Frederick, but what would that be? What would your kind of summation be of Frederick
Well, I think
Magazine?
it's 2 things.
Okay.
One is, our dedication to the written word, the craft of writing, and I'm a writer by trade. I take the issue, the whole concept of writing very seriously. Conversational writing, engaging writing that people want to read. I think writing, everyone can say mine does this, mine does that, but I take great pride in the quality of writing in the magazine and the quality of photography and design too, which I think is top notch.
Yeah.
But as a writer, I take great pride in the writing. The second thing I take great pride in is we're so local.
Yeah.
We're not national chain. We're not a bigger business. We are a locally owned company. My writers are all from this area. We make the magazine here. Everything we do with the magazine is here in Frederick County with one exception, and that's the printing. That's only because there's no facility here in Frederick that can print the quality magazine we have. Other than that, we can do everything else in the magazine here. We can design it, we can distribute it, we can do our administrative work here in the county.
Yeah.
So I take great pride in that we're in a local magazine at a time in this industry when there aren't that many locally owned publications left in any market.
No.
So I do take great pride in that as well.
Yeah.
That's one thing I try to tell people more about. I have some of my writers. I joke about I've only lived here 35 years. I have writers who have been here for generations.
Yeah.
So I lean on them sometimes for great historical knowledge. Tell me what it was like before blank was there.
Exactly. Exactly. How do you handle writer's block?
You know what? When you're writing nonfiction, it's almost impossible to have because you're writing. New stuff is coming.
Taking the facts,
more stuff is coming to you your way. Now, if I had to sit down and write a novel about Frederick, which hey, I might do one day. I might write a novel about Frederick. That would be a challenge, I think. So, because you got to sit there and you got to create these things.
Right.
Fortunately, the things we run into are so, I don't want to say they kind of write themselves.
Yeah.
The other day I was over at Heritage Frederick looking at their new exhibits, which are amazing, by the way. And that kind of stuff it just flows. So it's really cool to see some of the things in town.
Yeah.
And the writer's block in that case really doesn't happen. Yeah, there's times though when you're sort of behind the keyboard and it's, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and a story's, you have to have your story published the next day. There's been days like that where it gets a little tense.
Yeah.
But those are very rare.
Yeah.
So.
And are you looking for other collaborators
Always.
or things? Yeah.
Yes, always. We're always asking for people who are interested in writing or contributing to the magazine to reach out to us. And one thing I always tell everyone: if you come to me with a story idea, and you want to do it, I'm not going to give it to anyone else. I make that promise to all my writers. If we don't do it, we don't do it. You can take it to someone else then.
Yeah.
But if you come to me and say, I think this is a good story, I'd like to do it, I'm just either going to use it or not use it. You can take it to someone else.
Gotcha.
So I don't want people worried to come to me with ideas thinking, oh, I know what's going to happen. He's going to take it. He's going to write it himself. Or he's going to hand it to another writer, which that happens in this business.
Yeah.
And I said, no, if you have a good idea and it's that good, we'll give you a shot at it. But we may just say no, and you feel free to take it somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
But we're always looking for people. Some of the great, again, this is a changing community. The demographics are changing. The population's changing. I get good ideas from all corners. The other thing is we're not just Frederick City's magazine. We're Frederick County's magazine, and we're very cognizant of that. We do stories where people say you're too focused on the city, and we hear that a lot. So we consciously try to include the communities like Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Walkersville, Newmarket, Mount Airy. We try to reach out to the other communities because we want to be a Frederick County magazine, not just a Frederick City magazine. Now, the reality is the biggest population hub is here in Frederick City, so a lot of the magazine will be about the city.
Yeah.
But we do try to reach out in the other communities. We do that as much as we can.
Yeah. Go get your subscription to Frederick Magazine. FrederickMagazine.com. Subscribe. Comes right to your mailbox. You get to read some great stories, see some amazing photos. And I 100% agree with you about the quality of the photographs in the magazine. And you get to learn more about Frederick, maybe stuff you didn't know. And this is Guy Fletcher. He's the editor. And you can reach out to him if you've got an interest in contributing to Frederick Magazine.
All right. Want to thank Guy for that. It's a great magazine. I just got mine in the mail yesterday, which is fantastic. All right. Thank you guys for hanging in, and I appreciate you so much. Here's to another year of Good Morning Frederick. Keep the content coming. Keep being cool, interesting people. Keep starting great businesses and having amazing events. I'm here for you. Whatever you need, anytime, reach out. I mean, I tell you, this is the greatest ever to be able to do this show. And I couldn't do it without you and all of our great sponsors and advertisers as well. Thank you so much. Let's get out there. Let's be great.